What's going on, YouTube? Reezon back once again, and this time I'm gonna be talking about TNA wrestling. Just the direction that the company is going in, what's been going on the latest impacts. Turning Point is coming up, I believe, this Sunday. Yeah, the 15th, and just random things about that. I will say one thing, man. The big announcement that happened this past or 2 Thursdays ago, I should say. Hulk Hogan, the immortal one, the immortal Hulkster, the immortal Hulkamania, has signed a partnership with Dixie Carter and TNA. Uh, my thoughts on that. It's kind of a two-way street, right? It's more positive than negative, but I will say that I'm kind of worried because in WCW, which was the last company that Hogan lifted, Hogan and others, but Hogan primarily lifted to superstardom and to the top, even over the WWE. He had too much creative control. Everybody did over their characters, but I'm just singling him out since we're talking about him. He had a lot of creative control over his character, and I don't care how big the star is, you can't give him too much control over the character. That's just gonna lead the company into where WCW is now, which is unfortunately out of business. So I'm worried about that. I will say, however, that it is a big positive. This is the greatest, not talent wise, but this is the greatest wrestling personality of all time. This is Hulk Hogan. He did movies, he did shows, he did wrestling. You'd have to go to another planet to find someone who didn't know who Hulk Hogan was. All right, this is the most popular, most recognizable wrestler of all time. He transcended wrestling. He made wrestling what it is. Okay, having him link up with TNA is great for the mainstream worldwide exposure that TNA needs. Right? TNA has their global impact and all that, and they go to Japan and they go to Britain, but I'm talking about worldwide mainstream. Like, even maybe on the news, commercials on all the networks, things like that. Big events that, seeing Hogan's face there, Hogan's name is going to draw massive crowds to TNA. So I think that is a big plus. That's enough on the Hogan issue. I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but that's enough on that. I think that's a very good step. I think the positives far outweigh the negatives, as long as Dixie Carter and TNA can keep Hogan somewhat controlled. And I'm worried about that because I heard that he's got a lot of creative control once again. So I'm worried about that. But we'll see how that turns out. TNA's had over the last couple of months, has had an influx of talent come their way. I mean, you had Bobby Lashley show up. Amazing Red was put back on the map. You had D'Angelo Dinero, the Pope D'Angelo Dinero, come out. Eric Young is on his game. They're getting a lot of young talent, and they're using a lot of that young talent. But now they got an even newer one who I'm not very familiar with because, once again, I'm a wrestling fan, but I have a life. So I don't keep up with all the independents and all the federations that are not on TV. But I do know a little bit. I've heard of ROH, Ring of Honor, and I believe that's where this next star came from, Desmond Wolfe, who would wrestle there under the name Nigel McGuinness. Okay, I had never seen him before. So, heard a lot of good things about him. Saw him show up in TNA, and I must say I'm very impressed. I like his character. I like the whole Desmond Wolfe. I like the name. I like the whole vibe. One thing I think TNA is making a mistake of here, I like the fact that they brought him in, and right off the bat he was trying to take down Kurt Angle. Top dog. And I also like what they're doing with Kurt Angle's character, making him a face again. He's great as a heel, we know that, but he's also good as a face, and it's good to have have it different. I didn't want to have him be a heel for his whole career, in TNA. So I like seeing him as a face again. That's good. I like the fact that they brought Desmond Wolfe in, and right off the bat he went at Kurt Angle. He wanted to take him out. I don't like the fact, however, that they're putting this guy over too much. Okay, it's been 3 straight weeks, and all 3 straight weeks he's made Kurt Angle look like he's never wrestled. Okay. First of all, the first time he came out, he jumped him in the locker room. That was cool. That set up the beef. That set up the heat. And Kurt Angle called him out at the end of that night. That was like 3 weeks ago, and he didn't show up. And then as Kurt Angle's walking up the ramp to go find him, he jumps Kurt Angle from behind, beats Kurt Angle down, and does what's called the Tower of Terror or Tower of Power, something like that is the name of this move. He sets him up on the top turnbuckle and gives him a straight up diamond cutter. Right off, a front face DDT, right off the top turnbuckle to the floor, almost broke his neck. That was awesome. That was the first week. Okay, I understand that. Very next week, you had them wrestle a street fight. I believe it was a street fight, no holds barred match. And I'm thinking that diamond cutter off the top rope, that's a pretty good finishing move. It turns out that's not his finishing move. His finishing move is some lame super clothesline. Especially since the guy's not that big, so that doesn't make any sense to me. So he's wrestling Kurt Angle, and it fairly cleanly, without cheating, without interference, he gets an easy. I'm talking about like this match was less than 10 minutes. Clothesline, boom, takes Kurt Angle down. Kurt Angle has to be carried out on a stretcher. That's twice. Then the next week, Kurt Angle's at home nursing his neck, and Desmond Wolfe cuts a promo, and Kurt Angle's live on the phone and talking about how he's gonna end Desmond's career. Then today's Thursday. Yes, I'm gonna admit it. I went and I read the spoilers for today's Impact because I'm concerned about this. And again, there, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, stop watching this video. I'll give you 2 seconds. Okay, now this is a spoiler. Tonight's Impact apparently, supposedly, what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to have another match. Actually, Kurt Angle comes out and cuts a promo. Desmond Wolfe shows up on the screen, talks about how he's going to take Kurt Angle's place. Then he comes through the crowd, they get into a brawl, and then he hits Kurt Angle with a DDT on the concrete on the outside, leaving him knocked out. Again, 4 weeks in a row. I understand you're making this guy legitimate, making him a big deal, but you should have some back and forth. You shouldn't have this domination over the Olympic gold medalist. I don't like that about TNA's direction. Main event for Turning Point. Oh no! Before I get there, Sting, the icon Sting, the man. That is my favorite wrestler. This past today, we're supposed to hear from him. Supposedly, that's what TNA's website's been saying. Today, he breaks his silence, and there's a little like teaser saying, "Does Hulk Hogan's partnership with TNA has that changed the icon's mind? Will that affect his decision?" And I'm, of course, this is in my mind. This is what I like to see as a wrestling fan. I don't give a damn how old Hogan is, and I don't care how old some people think Sting is. I think Sting can still go. I don't know how good Hogan is, but I know Sting can still go. He put on a hell of a match at Bound for Glory with AJ Styles, and I would love to see them rekindle at least one more time a feud between Hulk Hogan and Sting. I would love that. I would love that, man. You don't have to make it no main event at a pay-per-view, even though I think it's kind of hard not to, because those two big names would draw like crazy, like they did for Starrcade '97. But I would love to see TNA do that. So TNA, if you're watching, if you listen, anybody from TNA, take that under consideration, man. I would really like to see you re-spark a feud with all that history and all that rivalry between the icon Sting and the immortal Hulk Hogan. I would love that. But now on to Turning Point's main event, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels. I was not around as a TNA fan for that first match. I have seen a lot of clips and highlights from that match on YouTube and whatnot, and it was a phenomenal match. I think it was back in '05. But this is supposed to be part 2 of that match, so I'm looking forward to this event. I will say this, I can't stand Samoa Joe, and everybody knows it. But I will say this, character-wise, they made him look very good the last 2 weeks. The way he's been trying to stir the pot with Daniels and AJ. Still don't know who the hell's attacking AJ from behind. Whatever. Everybody's got their speculations on that. But I like the way Joe's been used as a character. I still think he's garbage in the ring, and I still think he's garbage on the microphone, with the exception of these last 2 weeks. So we'll see how this main event turns out. I like Christopher Daniels, man. I don't like the way that TNA is making AJ Styles look like a punk. AJ Styles is the best wrestler in that company, bar none. Daniels is a close second. But AJ Styles is the best talent you have, bar none. He is your TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Why are you making him look like a punk every week? You can't give him a good break. You give it to him, and then you got to take it away. You have him getting jumped from behind for the past 3 weeks, getting sent to the hospital, bleeding, doesn't know who's beating him. Then you have him have a match with Christopher Daniels where he wins cleanly, and you say, all right, you're giving him some momentum, and then Joe from behind chokes him out. It's like this guy can never look good because TNA is making him look like crap. Please stop that. What else? The X Division is off the chain, man. I hope Kaz. Suicide Kaz, I hope he takes the mask off soon. I like Suicide, but enough is enough. This dark savior garbage, now I'm done with that. We need to see Kaz back. So take that mask off. I like what they're doing with Homicide. I like Eric Young. I like the Team 3D turning heel now with Rhino against Hernandez Hernandez and Matt Morgan. That's good. It's good in its back because it's kind of that old versus young thing again. I'm kind of getting tired of that, but whatever. Overall, I think TNA is doing good. They just need to fix those areas, man. I'm really sick of seeing Desmond Wolfe be put over so much over Kurt Angle. I'd like to see some back and forth. Now this match at Turning Point, you almost gotta be certain that Angle's gonna win because of all the times he's gotten knocked out. And that's kind of whack. I wanted some back and forth, so at the pay-per-view, I'm like, it was a good match. I don't know who's going to win. So, other than that, TNA needs to fix that. I really want to know what's going on with Sting. Hopefully he does not retire, but you never know, man. God bless y'all. Leave some comments, discussions, questions. You know what's up. God bless.